Hello, bonjour, and welcome to another day of NGS. Bienvenue tout le monde à un autre jour de NGS. And today we're going to have La Fine Equipe versus Start Slow Then Taper Off. I'm going to try doing a little bit of a bilingual cast just to start, I promise, but gotta give Quebec, gotta give the French Canadians the respect they deserve. Gotta speak the French. I do speak a little bit as well, so it gives me a little bit of an opportunity to show off a bit. But yes, today we're going to have BEast La Fine Equipe versus Start Slow Then Taper Off. And now, both these teams have already played as we go to check out the standings. And we're going to have to wait for it to buffer a little bit. But I believe La Fine Equipe, both of these two teams have played. Both of these two teams have won at least a map. But the difference is Start Slow Then Taper Off. One with a domination, and La Fine Equipe lost 2-1, unfortunately for them. But obviously, it's still early on. It's too hard to tell who's supposed to be where. I typically leave till around week 3, week 4, where you can really start seeing which of these teams deserves to be higher, which of these two teams deserves to be lower. Now, the map picker bans have already happened. And we have both bans already through. And map pick was picked by La Fine Equipe. So Cursed Hollow and Garden of Terror are going to be banned from their side. They don't like any of those 3 objective maps. And then on the side of Start Slow Then Taper Off, it was Dragon Shire and Brax's Holdout. Now map number 1, picked by La Fine Equipe, is going to be Tomb of the Spider Queen. So it's going to be another small map and a very popular map. It's actually kind of interesting for me because I've cast a lot of series already this season, and I believe Tomb of the Spider Queen has been played on every single time. And it's interesting to me because it's never been really banned. It's always been played though. So it's just one of those maps that every team just kind of feels comfortable playing in, comfortable picking, and they're not too worried about other teams playing around it. Now, my reasoning for that is I do think that Tomb of the Spider Queen is one of those maps that's very well, like, it's small map. It's a pretty simple map. Like, the way you're supposed to play is really obvious. There's not many camps. There's just the Bruiser camp, and then there's also the Siege camp at the bottom and the Boss camp at the top. And basically, you need to make sure they don't turn in and they don't get the boss. Other than that, like, do whatever you want. The lanes are close together. It's hard to get pushed in. So that's my reasoning. Obviously, players and everyone else can think completely different. I could be completely wrong. But it has been something that's consistent across every single division. So that's kind of where my thoughts lie. Yeah, we're just waiting on the players to get ready. And I will take this time to also shout out that tomorrow I have picked up 2 more casts. So it is going to be a back-to-back with potentially a little break depending on how long the first series goes. But it will be Division E Habitual Line Steppers versus Crimson Cyber Squad at 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern. And then at 7:30 Pacific or 10:30 Eastern, it's going to be Division B West, Surely We Scale versus Roll 1 Esports. So be sure not to miss that. It's going to be a good day of good games, and especially after last night, some of these series are starting to get ridiculously close. If you haven't watched the VOD, I highly recommend it. I will also be making a little TikTok/YouTube short of one of the games because it was an absolutely insane series. I will say it's been one of the best series so far for this season. Now, that being said, it looks like we're heading into draft. All right, and we are here. We are ready for game number 1 on Tomb of the Spider Queen. Now, I've finally been able to play, still not a lot, still not as much as I'd like to, but I have been able to get a little bit of Storm League in, so I'm starting to figure out the meta a little bit better. And then on top of that, I've been obviously watching and casting a ton of games from the NGS. And I've noticed Chromie and Oreo have been 2 very popular characters, and it's very easy to see why. Chromie deals so much damage, has so much utility. And then Oriel got a little bit overtuned. I'll say that right now. I think she's going to get turned back a little bit because right now the healing is insane. But yeah, Chromie will get banned away by start slow, then taper off. Which, by the way, it's one of my favorite names in all of NGS. The other one is over in Div E, and I can't even remember the full name. It's like a paragraph, and I think that's way too funny, so that's why that one's my favorite. But now, Equipe, they're also going to ban away Hogger, and Anduin going to get banned by start slow, then taper off. It's interesting to me that Anduin is still kind of contested, because in terms of raw healing amounts, Anduin's definitely not as good as other options. But with the Leap of Faith, not only is it a cleanse, it's also a repositioning tool, and the Light Bomb being so powerful in offense. It's really nice that Anduin is no longer just pick it and you get everything. It now has a solid niche, and I think that niche is competitive play. Now Diablo going to get banned away by Equipe, and Honey Badger immediately going to lock in Joanna. So once again, all three blonde characters banned and picked in a row for start slow. Now on the side of Equipe, Mezzos going to take Tassadar. And Tassadar does deal a lot of damage. We saw Delta Sniper dealing unfathomable amounts of damage. And my favorite skin, it's the Janitor Leoric for Batya. I love the Janitor skin. It's my headcanon. I love to imagine it, but that is currently who's updating the game. That's the one that's keeping Heroes of the Storm alive for all of us. So be sure to thank your local Janitor Leoric. Now Arlu gonna lock in the Vala, and the Brightwing gonna get locked in for Shadow Droid. And it is a small map, so like I always say, Brightwing not quite as powerful on this map, but still very good. Has the AoE cleanse, has the phase shift burst heal, and then the spell armor is also very useful, especially into a Tassadar, so a lot of value coming out from the Brightwing. The Leoric also very solid in team fights, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. I actually haven't been seeing too much Leoric picked. I've seen it banned a decent amount, so that definitely is going to contribute, but it is one of my favorite heroes. Entomb is a fantastic ability. It adds so much flair to those team fights that I love to see. Now, Equipe going to ban away the Yrel. So trying to clear away the offlane, maybe giving Batya a little bit of a better lane. Now, the offlane doesn't matter too much in this lane. It's not quite an island, as it is on some other maps, like Towers, for example. And that's an interesting ban, the Ana from Start Sold and Taper Off. Now, I'm yet to see an Ana picked or banned. This will be the first ban that I've seen this season. But maybe there is something that they're worried about. Maybe the Sleeping Dart is something that Elega has been very good at playing. But we're just going to have to. Well, they're not going to be able to play it anyway. But anyway, Elega picking the Rhaegar, and Rebirth going to lock in the Anubarak. Interesting choice for tank. And when I say interesting, I'm not one of those casters where interesting is bad. It's genuinely interesting to me because Vala's pretty hard to lock down. Brightwing's hard to lock down. Joanna doesn't really care about stunts. Assuming Honey Badger can time the Iron Skin anyway, which most of these players can, so not too worried about that. And Anubarak, especially with the Cocoon, can kind of start setting up plays on all of those heroes that are so mobile. And now Zul'jin and Rex are going to get locked in for Xenochrist and 0-Day Attack. And Kel'Thas locked in for Trad. Okay, now that pick is a little... So this time I will say I'm confused about it. Because Brightwing can give the spell armor, Zul'jin will have Taz Dingo. So I assume it is going to be the Phoenix coming out from level 10, not the Pyroblast. It's going to have a lot more zoning potential. That's what I'm assuming anyway. And we'll be solid in team fights. Going to have to see how both these teams play their drafts. But here we are going into game number 1. All right, here we are. We are loaded in. We are in Tomb of the Spider Queen between Elega and over on the right side, start slow, then taper off. I wonder how they came up with that team name. I should ask someday. I probably will. We'll see. Sometimes I get lazy with interviews, I'll be honest. I'm not going to lie. I don't lie to you guys anymore. But anyway, Both these two teams are going to start playing over towards the mid side. It is going to be the auto attack build from the Vala. And I think that makes sense because into an Anubrak, a lot of summons there. Not going to really be able to land a lot of those Hungering Arrows, or at the very least it becomes a lot more difficult. But they also don't really have any blinds or anything like that. So Arlu should be able to just constantly be DPSing. Now, meanwhile, they're just going to go on to Misha, getting a lot of damage with 0-day attack. And Xenocry is going to be able to heal Misha back up. Now, but yeah, going to be getting hit upon. Burrow charge used over onto Misha. And Misha is going to go down. So Half-Blood going to Lafine Keep. Another Condemn lands on a 4. And they're getting trapped quite low. The Cleanse does come out. The Blind on a couple more autos. But Arlu not going to have the DPS quite yet. Does have 5 stacks, so that's good. And already 1 stack over on the Zul'jin. Now, interestingly enough, it is going to be... Oh, there may be a fight going off the top as there's a little bit of poke going back and forth. Now, Honey Badger starting to get quite low. The Living Bomb not going to bounce on anyone else. And there's that Spell Armor that's going to be coming out from Shadow Droid. That's kind of my concern with picking Kel'Thas into a Brightwing. Is Brightwing's very good into those kinds of mages. Kel'Thas' abilities are all pretty slow. There's not going to be any kind of burst. You can see that they're on the way. And makes the reaction time a lot easier for Shadow Droid. Yeah, I forgot what I was talking about, but... Oh, yeah, the Zul'jin build. So the Zul'jin build, it does look like Zul'jin is being picked more as a spellcaster than an auto-attacker after the latest patch. I was waiting until I got to cast a few games of it, but it does seem to be pretty consistent now. It is mostly about that Twin Cleave. Now, Xenochrist able to get a couple of good autos, but Rebirth just going to be able to dash away. But yeah, also trading over on the bot side. Now, both sides seem to be playing pretty evenly. The XP is pretty even. But one thing I'm noticing is there's starting to be a pretty large gap between the gems collected by both these teams. It's starting to catch up a little bit, so maybe there's just one wave that needed to be caught up on. But yeah, there was definitely a pretty solid lead on the side of Start Slow Then Taper Off. And they're able to turn in quite a bit as well. They're going to have 5 turned in. Now, the Bruiser Camp going to get finished off by Elegar and Mezos. Meanwhile, Arlu and now Shadow Droid coming in with the assist. Going to take their Bruiser Camp. But because they were a little bit slower, Lafine Keep can just walk down to the bot lane and also take the Siege Camp. This is in a bit of a neutral area. Now, Misha going to get hit by the Force Wall and will get taken down once again. So maybe it's not a half kill, maybe it's a quarter kill. I'm not even sure how Misha gets counted. Might be a quarter kill. But Arlu and Shadow Droid gonna finish off the Bruiser Camp as the blue Bruiser Camp is already starting to hit onto the wall, not dealing too much damage. But these Siege Camps are. They've already taken out a good chunk of this wall. The Empowered... I actually forgot what that ability is called. Yeah, not Living Bomb. The Empowered Flame Strike. Massive AoE, dealing a decent chunk of damage there too. But they're just going to back away. Neither of these two teams able to really consistently push in. And now the push is actually going to be favoring Start Slow Then Taper Off over in the mid lane. They have the Bruiser Camp pushing in for them. And there's no Bruiser Camp to help defend it. Now, Rebirth and Mezzo's going to try clearing it away. Rebirth just walking up, trying to slow down the wave. And it looks like they will be able to take it. And now both sides do have enough gems for turn-in. But can they all get them in? The Force Wall is just going to be there helping scout out the brush. As Arlu just trying to get a couple of stacks on the Creed of the Hunter. Not able to get too much. Now Butya just hitting onto 0-day attack. And it definitely looks like Leoric's having a good time trading there. A lot of sustain on the Leoric, a lot of damage. And we see a full Shock Ray build coming out from Mezos right now. So it's going to be a very big nuke. Not as consistent damage, but it's going to be a pretty big one. And now Arlu going to get hit by... the Flame Strike, nope, gonna dodge away in time. Eligard trying to get the slow with the totem. But now Honey Badger gonna be hit with a Living Bomb. Will not get the Spell Armor in time. Shadow Droid just a little bit behind. Might have been on cooldown from a previous fight. But now 0-day attack. Gotta start getting wailed down, but we'll have the stun coming from Misha in time. Now the Shock Ray once again dealing so much DPS over onto the backline. Mezos gotta start getting hit again. And now the Cleanse has come through. Phase shift as well for the heal. So Honey Badger will be in a healthy spot. Is going to be able to just continually push out this top side and get a little bit of pressure over towards this. I always forget what these are called. Spider Altars. They're definitely trying to get the turn in. They're very close. They only need 20 on the side of Start Zone Taper Off. But Lafine Keep only needs 7. So if they can delay a little bit. And in fact, 10 just made their way in. So Only need 10 gems on the side of starts open. Honey Badger gonna get hit by the Burrow Strike. Iron Skin is gonna come out to be safe, but the Red Web Weavers are gonna be coming out. And now the fight is continuing. Arlu and Xenochrist able to get a couple more autos, but you're gonna go into Wraith Walk form. Will be okay, but we'll take a decent chunk of damage for that, as the Red Web Weavers are now gonna be coming in. But when it comes to team fights, they are quite magic focused, especially with the Shock Ray build coming out from Mesos. But this also makes them very good at clearing Web Weavers. They have a lot of magic burst and clear. So I expect that these Web Weavers aren't going to survive too long. They're not going to be able to get a very solid push without the team backing it. And the team is backing it over on the top side. Now Rebirth trying to walk up, but not quite able to. Now the Burrow Charge is going to land on Arlu, but Arlu is just going to pull away. Honey Badger starting to get a little bit low, has the Iron Skin. Will be okay, and Rebirth just taking autos from Xenochrist and Arlu all the way from the top side of that lane. Now the wall is already gone. Shock Ray just going to be used to help finish off this final Web Weaver. So no damage mid, full wall top, and a little bit of damage bot, though that may have also been from 0-day attack earlier on. I haven't really been watching the actual buildings over in the bot lane. But now the next set is ready to spawn. And now Trad just going to try turning it immediately. And with these amount of gems, they're going to have the reverse. Trad going to be able to secure it. Burrow Charge going to be used onto Honey Badger just to bring everything back. But now they're waiting in the brush. But it looks like Rebirth is just scouting, just trying to pick up a little bit of that soak and kind of prevent any kind of rotations. The siege camp was started ahead of time, so they're going to have a little bit of an extra push over in the spot side. And with a wall already gone, could get a little bit of value onto this fort. But it does look like the majority of the team is grouping towards that mid lane. And the mid lane is pretty important on this map. If you control mid, it's a lot easier to control both these altars at the same time. But now the Burrow Charge under the back lane, not going to land on anyone. Impale as well. Honey Badger taking a decent bit of damage. Blessed Shield has been utilized. And the Cocoon onto Shadow Druid. And they have the jump and so much damage. Living Bomb. Got to finish it off. And First Blood going to Lafine Key proper this time. Now Impale gonna land on it too, and the Burrow Charge as well. There is the Iron Skin, and the Web Weaver actually almost finishes off Xenochrist, but it's not gonna happen. Another Shock Ray to hit Honey Badger. Already 115 stacks, so a lot of damage gonna be coming through from Mesos, as they are going to be able to take this mid lane fort. Their Web Weavers are gone, but that doesn't matter. It was enough damage to take the bot lane fort, and they will be able to push in the mid lane themselves. So definitely a lot more value from these Web Weavers coming out from Lafine Keep. And they actually have enough to go again. And if they have the pressure, and it seems like they do, they're just gonna run it right back. They're gonna get the next set of Web Weavers. Although Rebirth didn't turn in. I'm not sure if they're waiting to turn in afterwards or if they wanted the pressure instead. But this will open up a possible opportunity for the side of Starcell and Taper Off. They're not going to be able to turn everything in 0-day attack. Currently holding on to 25 and is unable to start the tournament. But yeah, no, they will be able to get it. 0-day attack. Another set of Red Web Weavers is going to be coming through. It looks like both these teams are just going to be constantly going back and forth and back and forth. And whoever has the strongest spiders will win. It's not team-based, it's spider-based. But Mesos might be getting caught out a little bit. They have this time. They have Blessed Shield. Rain of Vengeance. But the Ancestral Healing comes out in time, and they're able to burst the Zul'jin. And the Entomb coming out as well. They have the Cocoon. And, sorry, Vala, you're not in a great spot, to say the least. And Arlu will be taken down as well. 2-0 as the Red Web Weaver spawn. Not going to be able to get any kind of push with this, so maybe planned by Lafine Keep. If it was, this was a 300 IQ play. They let them turn in just so they could kill the Web Weavers and not have to deal with it later. But now they're going to be shoving in the top side, and the team without the Web Weavers are going to be the ones that are pushing aggressively. And that just goes to show how much they got out of that fight. It was Mesos that was caught originally, but he wasn't the one that wasn't in danger. Now, a couple more abilities cast back and forth. Not going to be too much happening there, though. But yeah, still looking at 0-day attack. Drain Hope, slowing down 0 attack quite a bit. The Entomb is available, action will be used, but 0-day attack able to sidestep it. Drain Hope used once again. Phase Shift coming out, but not enough. But yeah, gonna get the solo kill in the bot lane. Now, Mesos gonna clear away the final Web Weaver. We'll take a little bit of damage to the bottom fort, but again, if the bottom fort's alive, they're still in a good spot. It's still going to be pushing for them. Now, they're going to start onto the siege camp, but Batio and Edegar going to take it together. And Trad going to turn in the final 4 right on the dot. And that's going to be, once again, another set of web weavers. This boss has been up, but genuinely because of the amount of web weavers that are being spawned back and forth, I feel like it's just been constantly down. No, they do seem to be grouping a little bit towards the middle/top lane, which makes sense. That is the last fort that's left on the map. But there is a push happening on the bot side. They have the siege camp pushing already. Now, but yeah, gotta get jumped on by 0-day attack and Misha, and actually taking a decent bit of damage. The Drain Hope will keep them in a good spot, but now Honey Badger walks forward, has the Iron Skin, has the phase shift as well, so we'll be okay. Cleanse used as well. But they're still going to be pushing. Arlu going to take a shot from the Chakra, and about half of Arlu's HP going to get taken down from there. They do hit so many abilities on her Shadow Droid and Xenochrist. And now Honey Badger getting zoned off of the wall as we have a solo kill over in the mid lane. But gonna get finished off by 0-day attack. But in the meanwhile, they're still going to be able to get the control over of this top side. They're still going to be able to finish off this fort. And they're getting a ton of value from the Web Weaver over in this bot side. Already onto the keep, finished off the wall, the siege camps, and the cannons. All just dealing so much damage. Going to be about half HP on that keep. And because they're having to deal with that, they can't deal with the wave over in mid lane. So Mezzos and the entire side of Lefine Keep, who also have level 16, by the way, so they have the talent advantage. They do decide to fight as Rebirth has a pretty good angle. But looks like they're not going to jump upon it. Not enough for another turn-in, so we're going to have a little bit of a break from the spiders. We're going to go back to good old-fashioned map play and brawling. Rebirth going to get the turn-in as well, so it's 35 gems already turned in. But Honey Badger trying to stop some of it, but won't be able to stop any of it. But at the same time, also doesn't matter too much. They don't have enough for turn-in. I am a little bit surprised that they went up so aggressively, considering they're down a talent. But no harm, no foul. They're able to delay it a little bit. And I think that's pretty good for them as well, because even buying a little bit of time will give them more time to soak up more XP and hit their own level 16s. Now they're grouping towards the bot side, and it looks like they're trying to force onto Batya, and Batya not in the best spot, but does have the Wraith walk. If Batya gets spotted, but the Polymorph is going to come in, Batya gonna be okay. Nothing's really going to come through with this play, but they will be able to get a little bit of the turn in or start slow. Now the Bruiser Camp, in the meanwhile, the entire roster of Lefine Keep, well, 3 of the members anyway, are going to be shoving it in. They're going to have the Bruiser Camp pushing in mid, and they only need a little bit more of the Spiderlings to go down, a little bit more of the gems before they do have enough return in, and they do have exactly the amount they need. Mezzo sitting on 5, and Batya sitting on 6. So if both of them can turn in, they will be in a good spot, but if Batya gets another 3, they won't even need the one from Mezzos. However, it doesn't even matter anyway. Mezzos just going to turn it in, and there's no one near Batya, so this should be free. But does Batya know that? They know there's 5 members now. They should definitely be able to see them. And the Blessed Shield does come out, but Rebirth wasn't unstoppable. It did have the Burrow Charge coming through, so we'll be okay. Not going to get hit by that. And in case we got lonely, we do have another set of spiders, but we also have a cocoon. They're looking for the play. They're going to break the cocoon, but they have this ace on the wall. And oh my god, the damage onto the Zul'jin. And now 0-day attack. Going to be getting hit quite low as well. They do have the Ancestor healing in time to save the tank. But that's going to be 1 kill. But, oh, the Entomb lands on a 2 plus Misha. And now the droid is going to go down. We'll be able to blink, heal away in time. Shadow Droid trying to run away. 200 HP with the final bit of the shock rate from Mezzos is going to be enough. And now this might be a possibility for them to end. It's 3-on-1 as they do get another stun and a bit more poke onto Arlu. But Arlu is going to have to back away and heal. I don't know if they can end because it's still quite early. But they are going to get at least 2 keeps. They have the Web Weaver pushing into bot side as well, but they look like they want to try to end this. At the very least, they want to force a fight. Honey Badger gonna be able to stun quite a bit, has the Iron Skin. Blessed Shield is available, but it's holding on to it for now. But now the DPS is coming through. Xenochrist hitting onto Batya and will be able to finish them off. But now Trad also in a bad spot, and they're going to lose 2 members. Rain of Vengeance also lands onto Mezzos, but with the totem, we'll be able to slow them down a little bit. Rebirth trying to block the way, as they will be able to trade 2 back. Trying to end the game may have been a little ambitious for Lefine Keep, but they still come away with 2 keeps and possibly even a 3rd. No more fighting happening in mid lane, so I just want to see how far they can take this. And it looks like they will be able to finish it off. All 3 keeps go towards the side of Lafine Keep. They did give away 2 kills, but that's still a very good trade. And especially when it's the early season, when it's not at the point of the season where every game matters, I really like it when teams try to force the issue, when they try to push a little bit further. It lets them kind of gauge their limits. It lets them know how much is too much. And in future situations, if they ever need to risk a play like that, they will be a bit more experienced in it. But now 0-day attack, maybe in a bad spot. They are on to Misha. They have the totem as well, but they're not going to go for it. But the red web is actually going to be spawning right now. And now Rebirth maybe in a bad spot. Blessed Shield going to land as well. And the perfect stun stacking. Rebirth trying to get away. Ancestral Healing going to be in time. And now they have the Impale on to 3. They have the stun. Currently the Cocoon is on to Shadow Droid, but will be okay. But the Zul'jin in the backline will not. And Shadow Droid will be able to blink heal away, but gonna be alive for now. But now, but yeah, able to get onto 0-day attack. They have the Entomb, and it's just going to be 0-day attack. Stuck with the force wall, and Honey Badger trying to run away as well. The Flame Strike gonna land, but is unstoppable. Not able to stun them quite yet. Will get the slow. Drain Hope as well, and the force wall. And just so many team members attacking Honey Badger as they will go down. Level 20s have been hit. It's a 5-on-2, and this time they should be able to end. Lafine Keep, very clean game number 1. Very clean Tomb of the Spider Queen. Now Start Soul and Taper Off may try to stop this. I don't think they can, and they will not be able to. Lafine Keep will be winning game number 1. Yeah, pretty intense end to the first game. So much damage coming out from both Trad and Mesos. I was a little bit worried that the Brightwing from Shadow Droid will be a little bit difficult to deal with, because it is a double mage comp into a healer that's basically created to be good into mages. But they played well. They got a lot of picks, and I think what it ended up being is Shadow Droid could only give spell armor to one ally. Trad and Mesos could hit multiple, and that's where the difficulties really came for the side of Start Soul and Taper Off. Now we're going to go to a short break, but when we come back, it will be game number 2. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly. Hello everyone, and welcome back. Game 2 is going to be on Alterac Pass. Now, this was a map that was picked by Equipe, as first pick was selected by Start Slow Then Taper Off. Now, before we get fully into the draft, I would like to take a moment to shout out the sponsor of today's video, Match Masters. Match Masters is a competitive match 3 puzzle game where you play against your opponent on the same board. You can block each other, you can get in each other's way, and you can try to set it up so that they're forced to set you up. It's a massive mind game and it's a ton of fun. So try Match Masters for free today. The link is in the chat. But anyway, with that being out of the way, let's get back to the gameplay. So we do have the first bans coming out. Chromie banned once again by Start Slow, but they're going to ban away the Falstad instead this time around. They did ban away the Ando in game number 1. Equipe, meanwhile, gonna ban away the Hogger. And I believe their second ban was the Diablo. We'll see if that's what they decide to ban away this time as well. Diablo is a very high HP tank, very annoying to deal with, and has a lot of different ways of engaging. So, and also very high in damage in the right hands. But they decided, especially for Alterac Pass, Junkrat is going to be the ban. It is a lot more annoying to play into it, is able to kind of prevent you from taking the objective with just constantly throwing out the little grenades, throwing out the concussion mine, just constant traps left and right, yada, yada, yada. Impossible to cap the point unless you're able to take them down. Easier to just remove them from the game. But this time, they didn't ban away the Anduin, and it looks like that's because they wanted to take it. Shadow Droid going to lock in the Anduin as their first pick. So that is going to change things up a little bit. Last time they also picked Joanna, since... Were they first pick or second pick? I don't even remember. Doesn't matter, but Anduin is going to be the first pick. That's all that I know. Joanna is available if they want to take it on the side of Equipe. But no, they're going to go for the Tassadar for Mesos and the Melthio for Betier. So that's going to be a little bit of a difference compared to the Leoric. Not going to be able to shove out as hard, but will be incredibly powerful during teamfights. Melthio can dish out a ton of damage and has a very easy time getting onto the backline. Maybe that's an answer because of the Anduin. Anduin will be able to pull people back with a leap of faith. And someone like Melthio will be able to follow up on it. Now Murden going to get logged in. And Li Ming for Arlu. Now that's an interesting pick. They don't have the tank yet. Anubarak, typically good tank into something like the Li Ming. Little Scarabs. Any summons just make it so much harder to play Li Ming. If you're able to prevent her Arcane Orb from resetting, it really lowers the amount of damage you can put out. First of all, as poke, and second of all, just in those big full engages. Still going to be a ton of DPS though. But anyway, the next ban is going to be the Urel once again. They're going to remove that from the offlane. And speaking of the other picks, so the Murden is a good tank, has a very low cooldown stun. And once that level 10 hits, it's not too difficult to land, just because it does go through the first target hit. But Melthio is also very good at taking down Muradins. Has a with the last rites, Muradin is a very high HP tank, so you get a ton of value out of that spell. And yeah, it looks like Slow Then Taper Off agree with me. They're going to get rid of the Anubarak. Very solid tank into Li Ming, very annoying to play against. And then on top of that, Li Ming's also hard to catch. The Cocoon makes it a lot easier. And then Ana actually is going to get locked in by Elegar. So it does look like something that is played. And then Joanna is going to get locked in by Rebirth. So there is going to be the Joanna picked once again. Even post-nerf, I'm seeing Joanna in basically every single game. Kind of impressive. Obviously still a good tank, but I think does have some situations where isn't as good as before. But anyway, last two picks going to be coming out from Start Slow Then Taper Off. They still need their offlaner, and they still need probably another DPS. I think Li Ming is a bit difficult to play solo DPS on, and Vala going to get locked in for Xenochrist, and Leoric for 0-day attack. So we're still seeing that one set today. And that's going to be, it's going to be a little bit interesting because Arlu did play the Vala in game number 1. But it looks like Xenochrist was on the Zul'jin and now moving towards the Vala. Probably a bit more confident on that. Now that's an interesting pick, the Cassia for Trad. First Cassia I've seen this season. I don't have the stats available to me right now. Maybe I should someday. I think I will when I've move later and get a new setup. But I'll talk about all that later. But anyway, it is going to be game number 2 between Equipe and Start Sold and Taper Off. And Start Sold and Taper Off dominated in their first series. Can they come back and not lose series number 2? Can Equipe get their first win? Find out. All right, and we are into Alterac Pass between Equipe and Start Slow, then Taper Off. Bit of an interesting draft, especially coming out from Equipe. The Li Ming was a little bit of a surprise coming out from Start Slow, but overall it's still a pretty standard draft, and the Li Ming more surprised me because of how early they locked it in. I think it's a pretty standard draft, but Cassie and Anna locked in for Equipe. Definitely not two characters that I see super often, but could be quite strong. And I'm curious who the nano boost is going to be put upon here in this game. I'm guessing maybe the Melthiel? I'm not even sure. We're going to have to see. I don't know too much about how Anna's played at the competitive level. I don't know the combos, and I'm just as excited to figure them out. And now both teams just going to be meeting over in the mid lane. Honey Badger going to be jumping in. The Chastise does land on a Rebirth. Just a little bit of poke going back and forth. And actually quite a bit of damage landing on a Rebirth. But it is going to be the Thunder Strike build. So it's going to be 4 stacks starting early. Going to be the Shockwave build as well. Coming out from Mezzos. But they're going to be the first to go to the bot lane. And they're actually able to zone away Start Slow for a little bit, but not going to... Oh, no, there are going to be a couple of XP orbs that are not going to be missed, but they will be the small ones. So a little advantage. Little advantages like that do end up adding up in the end, but it's still always fun watching that. A little bit of zoning just gets a little bit of an edge, and you can even see it a little bit in the level, but it's not that high, let's be real. But now Mezzo's going to be the one matching up top, and they're going to send Batya to take the siege camp. That's a pretty interesting rotation in and of itself. Now, the siege camp has been finished off by Xenochrist and Shadow Druid. Xenochrist gonna reset after that. Now, Arlu trying to push out the mid lane, but gonna be getting blocked a little bit. Trad just throwing out the Lightning Furies, trying to get them stacked up. And it's also a very powerful sieging ability. Even if there's no one to hit, if you're in range to just throw it at the wall, you're gonna be able to hit like both the cannon towers and the gate itself. Now, Honey Badger is still mounted somehow in that, but gonna be forced to dismount. Gonna be getting a couple auto attacks condemned, just being used to kind of help clear away the siege camp, as both sides are just kind of attacking these neutrals as hard as possible. Neither one's really gonna get too much value out of them, but they will still give XP when they're taking it. Level 4 talents now hit by Equipe. Gonna get matched by Start Soul and Taper Off, and there they go. And Amezo's walking into the bot lane now as they once again swap lanes, and Xenochrist not going to get hit by the Sleeping Dart, will be okay. Try to predict that vault, but Xenochrist was patient, waited until he saw where the actual Sleeping Dart was going. Now, but yeah, gonna walk up top, and we'll just start clearing away against zero day attack. And not too much is going on quite yet. Perhaps the new objective will start things off, but now Trad seeing Honey Badger, but no stun gonna be landing. Stormhammer not gonna hit. I don't think there'd be too much follow-up, but now Mezzos might be getting caught out a little bit, but will dodge away on the Stormhammer, and that'll be the end of that play. And now where'd the sound go?
All right, lads and lassies. Keep our prison camp.
I have some kind of bug going on. Oop, there we go, we're back. Apologies for that. That was a bit of a technical issue. I think my computer lagged out. But anyway, Rebirth going to be onto Honey Badger. Going to get the blind and the Shockwave on of both. So that's a lot of damage coming out from Mezzos. Already at 30 stacks on the Shockwave. And with that extra little bit of charge, it's also going to help getting out that max DPS during the team fights ASAP. So stacking it up early will make the full team fights a lot easier for them. Now Missiles just kind of walking up and hitting Honey Badger as they are able to get first control onto this prisoner camp. Now both siege camps are shoving in, and in fact they're going to be able to get the stun onto Batya might be one of the safer people for it. Chastise lands onto the healer though, but no follow-up onto Elegad. Now the shield glare gonna get utilized, and Honey Badger gonna jump in and start clearing it back, but they were able to get 20 seconds, and in fact going to cancel with Shock Ray. So they will be able to get themselves an extra 0.7 seconds because of that Shock Ray. Not too much, but all of it adds up in the end. Level 7s on that Fine Keep. They could look to fight, but they do decide to back away and just reset their waves first. The siege camp, not too healthy, but could still deal some damage to the walls. As the sleep dart not going to land onto anyone there either. But now Rebirth walking up, able to hit the condemn onto just Shadow Droid. Trying to toss out those lightning gears, but they are hard to land. 0-day attack walking forward. Both teams on level 7, by the way. And now the blind lands on 4 members, and the sleeping dart condemn on 4 as well. 0-day attack gonna go down. Honey Badger also getting quite low. Shadow Droid as well. Honey Badger gonna go down, and Shadow Droid will be able to walk away just barely with that force or shock ray hitting him in the back. But you're gonna be able to start capturing the camp. They're not gonna be able to cancel it, and the first set of cavalry is gonna be coming out for La Fine Keep. And I wonder how much they're going to be able to get with this push. Bot wall's already gotten taken down quite low. Mid wall is still pretty healthy. Top wall gonna be getting hit a little bit by Mesos, but overall still quite healthy. Now typically when they get the first set this early, you're not really asking for too much. You just want the walls to get destroyed. If they can get a fort at any lane, that's already really big for them. And they're getting a lot of poke onto Honey Badger early on, and that's definitely going to help. Condemn gonna get thrown out, but there already isn't a wall there, so nothing really to prevent the Honey Badger from going through. And the anti-heal is coming out as well, minus 100, and that's another thing that Ana's just really good at. And there's a lot of healing that can come out towards that Murden, towards that Honey Badger, but not going to be coming out today. And now they're going to be hitting onto this fort. It doesn't look like they're going to be able to quite finish it off, but that's still going to be a good chunk of damage. So they're still pushing for it. They're still going towards it. I just need a little bit more damage. The Condemn as well. Shadow Droid going to get low. Chastise lands. But with the Shadow, or with the Iron Skin, we'll be okay. God, I apologize for the FPS. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm just going to take the safe route and blame Windows. I did have an update scheduled for today, so I'm guessing that's that. But anyway, they're going to be able to clear away this bot lane. And maybe they want to start playing towards this fort as well. They do have first move. The wall's already gone. And Trad's already walking in, starting on this next fort. And is even willing to tank a couple shots for it. Now they're going to throw the Shocker. They're going to throw all of their abilities onto it. And we'll get about a quarter HP of that fort. It's not a lot, but it's free damage on the fort. You take it. Tender for Jim Booney only, but they're still going to be able to finish it off. If anyone gets that reference, fantastic. But now the level 10s have come out. Disintegration going to be coming out over the top. But now Blessed Shield lands on to 3 members. Shadow Droid going to get pulled in. The Ball Lightning hitting onto the backline. And so much damage. Xenochrist going to get low. The heal will come out in time, but now Trad is the one in trouble and will not get finished off. His own will be getting taken out. But the Arcane over in the backline is 1 form for now. Now Mesos is going to be an Archon form, but will get taken down as well. Now Betcha trying to hit onto the backline. Does have last rights available, but will just get burst. The damage coming out there is absolutely insane. It is going to be a 3-for-1 in favor of Start Slow, and they're going to have the prisoner camp spawning soon, but it looks like they may be running towards this bot lane boss. They're going to clear this lane and then go for it. And this is a chance for them to come back into the game. The XP lead is now gone, but it doesn't look like they want the boss. It looks like they want the fort, or at the very least, this wall. And with Arlu and Xenochrist just DPSing onto it, should be pretty free for them to get. They do have the Sleeping Dart, but it's only going to be on Arlu. Oh, what is this called? A Lightning Fury going to land on Arlu. Sorry, I don't know why that blanked from me, but now Honey Badger and Rebirth going to be grouping together in the mid lane, just trying to get this push for both their respective teams. And Mesos sees that everyone's just leaving and just throws an extra shock ray onto the fort. Again, each individual one doesn't do a lot of damage, but keep doing this every single time. They have a little bit of a tempo advantage, and they're going to get pretty far ahead. But now the siege camp gonna get finished off by Start Slow and taper off, but you're gonna be able to finish off the siege camp over on the side of La Fine Equipe. A 0-day attack gonna get hit by the sleep. Do they have the follow-up? They have the ball lightning. Even a 0-day attack gonna get quite low. The disintegration ray over top as well. But no one goes down quite yet. But Trad gonna get burst quite heavily. Rebirth starting to pull them back. They have the Rain of Vengeance as well. And all the abilities are getting thrown out. The Blessed Shield over top and the Blind as well. Shock Ray lands. It's 1-for-1 so for Honey Badger. Going to go down as well, but you're trying to hit onto the back line. Arlu maybe a little bit too far forward, but with the teleport, we'll be able to get the kill and the reset. We'll be able to get away. Shadow Druid throws out the lightning bomb, or sorry, the light bomb, but it's too late for it. 2-for-2 is the end of the trade, but the HP bar is definitely favoring La Fine Equipe. They could try to go for the camp, but with Arlu still alive, it becomes very difficult. Arlu can throw out the disintegration ray. I think that's called disintegration. No, just disintegrate. Well, it's a disintegration ray anyway, so it still goes. But with the Arcane Orb, with the Magic Missile, very easy to prevent this. It's kind of like the Junkrat, not quite as good since you can physically block it. All of Junkrat stuff is highly AoE. But it's still very good at preventing that objective from getting taken. But now Trad, Mezzos, and Elegar, once again, they really want this bot lane fort. And Shadow Druid is going to be starting on the boss, but it looks like the rest of the team just wants to push in the buildings themselves. They're going to take this wall, but they're trading it for a fort. And now the boss is also going to start getting hit by La Fine Equipe. They know they can't answer this fort, so they will accept that their top lane fort is going to go down, and they're going to trade the tempo on this boss instead. Now, if Starts holding taper off, go for the boss, and it looks like they will. They kind of have to. They will finish it off a lot slower, and because of that, they're going to have to reset and defend. They don't have the option of playing aggressively. La Fine Equipe could push in with this boss if they so desire. And with Batio pushing in mid, they're also going to lose a pretty large wave here. That's going to be a lot of missed soak and a little bit of damage to the wall as well, but that's not quite as important. And this is what I'm talking about. This aggressive play over to the spot side, that's what makes it so difficult. They're going to already be taking down most of this wall, actually, before the boss even arrives. Now with the boss here and the shock ray landing onto the backside, Honey Badger looking for the play, but Mezzos just a little bit faster. So they're not going to be able to play aggressive. They have to deal with this. They're going to lose their full wall. And Batya is going to be able to start onto the red boss a lot earlier. And this is just a very good example of tempo play. This is very by the book from La Fine Equipe, but by the book is good for a reason. When you have the tempo lead, when you have the tempo advantage, you should be playing with it. And they're getting so much for it. They were able to get first move mid. Because of that, they're able to clear away this, and it's just one thing after the other. It's all very small leads too, but put together, you can get a lot of advantage this way. Now they're gonna leave the boss low. The wall did get taken down, but now they have the Blessed Shield, the Light Bomb, all gonna be coming out in time, but so much DPS over the backline. There's so much damage everywhere. Who's winning? They're gonna be able to take down Xenochrist, but now Honey Badger is on the front line. Arlu sitting at 100 HP, but the DPS onto the front line. They're able to take them both down. 0-day attack gonna go down, and the final snipe from Trad. Why not? 4-for-0 for La Fine Equipe, and all of that is what happens when you have the tempo play. Because now Arlu was forced to walk in a little bit more forward than normal, and with the Blessed Shield combo, they were able to start a fight, which put Arlu in a position where it was difficult to play up. Like, I'm not trying to turn this into a lesson. I don't know why I have randomly, but it's really fun being able to watch these kinds of plays, these small tempo advantages, and seeing how much you can get with them if you're able to play around them. And La Fine Equipe is showing they can play around them. Now they've already taken down the mid lane wall, and they will have the cavalry coming through soon as well. Bot lane wall gone, top lane wall gone, mid lane wall, but the top lane still has the fort up. So that should be a pretty free objective for them with their current map state, as Rebirth is getting jumped on a bit. The N2 gets thrown as well. Iron Skin, so much damage, but still not enough to kill Rebirth. And a Rebirth is alive. Ball Lightning getting thrown out as well. And the first one to go down is somehow no one so far. But Shadow Droid in a bad spot. They're looking for the healer, but the Anwin is going to be okay. They're going to stop Trad. Just a little bit of damage going on to 0-day attack. Last Right's not going to be enough. And the healing from Shadow Droid. How does no one go down in that fight? Both sides able to land so much DPS on each other, but just a little bit not enough. Basically, every cooldown has been utilized. Avatar is still available, but they are on to Xenochrist. Xenochrist is going to get finished off. Trad with the burst damage. And that sleep dart coming out from Gar, really paying dividends just in that one play. It's a major DPS gone. And without Xenochrist, it's going to be a lot more difficult to try and prevent them from taking this keep. Now, in the meanwhile, the cavalry over in the top lane is hitting onto them, but they have caught out Batia in mid lane, so they will get a kill back for their troubles, but they will lose their bottom keep and their top wall and their top fort during all that, I should remind. But huge wins right now for Lafine Keep. They're about to hit level 20, but with Batia gone, they're not going to be able to play with it, at least not right away. But there's also no rush. They have a 2-level lead now, and they're just going to start playing for this siege camp and start Sold and Taper off. Gonna match it on their side. So a little bit of a lull in the play. We need to wait for the bosses to come back up. About a minute for both of them. There was a 5-second difference maybe between the two of them getting taken out. But now both these two teams gonna start walking forward towards this mid lane. They could look to catch someone out, but the next play is going to be around the bot side, which is a little bit better for Start Sold and Taper off, because typically you want to be playing towards the side that you're at a disadvantage with in terms of lane, because this bot lane is going to be pushing in really hard with no keep, with the fort still up. This bot lane is going to push in very fast naturally for Lafine Keep. But because the objectives here as well, whoever is dealing with that bot lane will be able to get to the fight pretty soon, or at the very least a lot faster than if that same fight was happening over in the top side. Now prisoner camp is spawning in 30 seconds. The force wall gonna come through. Just gonna land on a honey badger. And they're actually gonna use the blessed shield. Avatar comes out as well. But the last rites, barely not enough damage. Shadow Droid able to get the heal in time. That's still gonna be honey badger forced to reset, so they could get a little bit of poke onto this mid lane keep. It's not gonna be too much, but it will be something. The force wall gonna get thrown out as well. And the Arcane Orb from Arlie not going to land either. But now Rebirth able to cancel the Disintegrate. A Light Bomb gets thrown out and lands onto two key members. Rain of Vengeance, everything. But it is level 20 to level 19. So now the play is coming through. The ball lightning is dropping on everyone. Xenochrist and Shadow Morph getting hit. But in the front line, 0-day attack is going to be the first and only character to go down. I think it was a good look from Start Slow. I think they were in a difficult position, but that extra heroic talent is definitely what saved them in that fight. Mezos gets taken out quite low as another ball lightning gets thrown out. Not going to accomplish too much this time. But they do have the stun on the front line, but the Iron Skin is out in time. They have the blind. Sleep Dart on the back line as well. Blessed Shield gets utilized then. Oh, the Shock Ray hits onto Xenochrist, but Honey Badger not able to get any other aggressive play. So lots of back and forth, but at the end of the day, it's just a 1-0 for Lafine Keep. They're not able to get the keep. They're not able to get anything else. But a kill is a kill. And what they can do is get first move towards top boss. Now it's just going to be Trad and Elegar. And it does look like they're not going to have too much trouble duoing it. But Mezzles is going to come by as well. Just speed things up. And in the meanwhile, Honey Badger starting the one-on-one duel. Honey Badger, I believe in you. You don't need your team. Though the rest of the team is going to come by anyway. Because let's be honest, Murden's not going to win 1v1. But the top boss, once again, going to get taken down a little bit faster. And they will be able to take it immediately here. And the meanwhile, Betya able to get the extra camp over towards the mid lane. And Lafine Keep, they probably know this bot lane's happening, this bot boss is happening. But they don't really care. They're going to have a Ford as a buffer here. And it looks like Starts on the taper off. They're well aware they're sending all 5 members back. They're not even going to send anyone to push in with the boss. They're going to accept that they're just going to get a free Ford, which is good for them. And then just try and defend on this. But now they have level 20 talents. They have the 2 Wizards of Silence and so much DPS on the Mezzos. But Archon going to be coming out. And in the meanwhile, Blessed Shield and so much damage on a 0-day attack. But will be able to stay alive. But the Shadow Droid not going to be able. That's the Anduin gone. That is your healer. You need that for the team fights. And this top lane keep is going to go down. If they're able to get even one more pick, they can definitely end the game here, as they're going to get this mid lane keep as well. With all 3 keeps gone, the boss is still at half HP, but 4 members are going to be able to DPS it. Can they do it? But Trad dealing so much damage on the backline, they're forcing everyone away, and you can't defend it if you don't have the health. Lafine Keep going to get the domination as they win 2-0. And just like that, Lafine Keep win 2-0. And game number 2, if you're watching this to learn what a takeaway for your team, if you're in a lower division, if you're in the same division, even if you're in a higher division, the way they played that game too was marvelous. C'était merveilleux. They played it exactly how you should when you have the lead, when you have the tempo advantage. This is definitely a well-practiced team. This is definitely a team that cares about their macro. So, Star Soul and Taper Off, I don't think they played poorly. It's just Equipe didn't give them any openings. And that's what you should be doing when you have that level of advantage. I mean, it's not flashy gameplay, but it is really fun to watch. Now, I'll see if I can get a quick interview with them. I'll behave. But if not, I will just raid you away to the next cast, because I'm only doing a single cast today. But before anyone goes, while we're waiting for the answer, one last shout out to Matchmasters, the sponsor of today's stream. Link is still in the chat. It's in the panel down below. It's free to try, and any of those goals, some of which take less than 5 minutes, help me out a lot as a caster, as a streamer. And yeah, so really appreciate it if you could download that. It doesn't look like anyone's gonna be answering, so I'm just gonna call it here. I will be rating out to the Sound 51. The Sound 51 will be able to... Oh, they want to play a third game. They want to play a third game. Yeah, I'll send it. I mean, I don't think this one's gonna cast. I don't think this one's gonna count for anything, but yeah, sure, I'll cast a third game. Why not? Didn't expect to stay, so yeah, sure, I'll cast a third game. Definitely not what I expected. Yeah, and my pre-rolls and everything, they're in a good spot. Yeah, I don't even need to run ads. Oops, sorry for that. One moment. Yeah, so it looks like we are going to be doing a third game. Now, this is just going to be a for fun game. The series is already done. Equipe got the domination. They're going to get the 4 points against Start Slow. But both these two teams, they're gamers. They want to play, and let's let them. Let's cast it. Why not? I don't have a second series to go to, and I always want to cast as much HOTS action as possible. So, yeah, let's get it going. Yep, I'm not... Oh, yeah, I should turn the music back up, but... Definitely, I don't think I've ever done this. I don't think this has ever happened before, to my knowledge, but you know what? A game 3 is a game 3. Let's go. I'll raid the Sound afterwards, I guess, or whoever else is casting. There's plenty of games tonight. They were just all picked up before I could grab a second one, which is good. I think I always prefer when everyone else is able to continue casting their games as well. I probably should have turned down the music before I talked, but you know what? This is a situation I've not really practiced for, so forgive me if I'm being a little bit off in terms of production. Once we get into game number 3, everything will be fine. I will take a little bit of sip with a little bit of a sip of tea before we go on. I was expecting to finish with my voice here, but yeah. Game number 3, Battlefield of Eternity. This is now a best of 5. No, I'm kidding. It's just going to be a for fun game 3. And I do appreciate all the comments in the chat. Trad, Malthix. Highly appreciate the kind words. It means a lot to me. This is my art form, and what is this art form without the audience? So, huge shout out to all of you in the chat. Huge shout out to everyone that's been watching all these games. I have a great time casting. This is something I love doing. And it's something I want to do as much of as possible. So, game number 3 started. Let's get into the draft. So, it is going to be Chromie first ban on the side of Start Sold and Taper Off. Li Ming going to get immediately countered with Equipe. So, they definitely don't want Arlu playing that again. And it makes sense. Arlu was able to deal a ton of DPS on the back line, on the mid line, just on everyone. The Disintegrate always able to land it on an angle where it's hitting at least 3 members. The magic missiles deal so much damage as well. Just an absolutely insane DPS role. That's really what it is. But anyway, with that, the final ban from Start Slow, it's going to be the Gray main. We are in Battlefield of Eternity, so most likely they're scared of the racing potential. And that is a secondary reason to ban away the Li Ming. The Li Ming's also very fast at racing, taking down the Immortals. And then on top of that, Li Ming, like I said, all the other things I've said about Arlu. Now, yeah, sorry. I didn't even realize what map we were on, I'll be honest. This all went by really fast. I was looking for an interview and everyone's like, no, we're just playing a third game. We have Vala going to get banned away as well by La Fine Equipe. So they're going to remove that from the pool. And it was picked both games by Start Slow and Taper Off. Played by Arlu in game number 1 and Xenochrist in game number 2. But Hanzo is still available. And Hanzo very good at scouting, very good at fighting too. Because Battlefield of Eternity, there's a lot of different compositions you could go for. But primarily, there's two things you want to be able to do. You either want to be able to race and then have a core of 4 that can defend your side. Or you want to send all 5 members to just team fight. Where like you don't care if you win the race. You don't care if you lose the race. You're just going to win it because there's no one left on the other team to attack the Immortal. But anyway, Falstad going to get locked in for a Lega. And Diablo going to get locked in for Rebirth. They're definitely having a bit more fun this game, at the very least the side of La Fine Equipe. Because Elegar has been the healer for games 1 and 2. Falstad not typically known for the healing abilities. Urel going to get picked for a 0-day attack, and Rhaegar for Shadow Droid. Joanna going to be the final ban for La Fine Equipe, waiting on one final one for Start Slow then Taper Off. Healer could be a good ban. There's still DPSs possible. Falstad typically not strong enough on their own. Maybe even something like Raynor. Raynor is obviously not a perfect character, but is someone that can race really well on this map. I have seen it locked in a couple choices, but now they are going to just stay with the healer. They're going to ban away the Anduin. And Hokulele, I'm not sure if you're still in the chat, but this is a map where Artanis actually performs quite well. And of course, I jinxed that as soon as I said it. It is going to be the Malthael locked in once again for Bitier. And Tyrande for Mesos. Now, I'm curious if this is a legit strategy they've practiced, if Mesos is just their Tyrande player. Or is Elegar just wanting to have fun with the Falstad? List of questions to ask afterwards, if they do decide for an interview. Now, Honey Badger and Xenochrist going to get the final 2 lock-ins. They still need a tank. Urel is quite strong as a frontliner, but they would want a little bit more lockdown. Or a little bit more crowd control. Zul'jin once again locked in for Xenochrist. And Honey Badger going to lock in the Anubarak. So this time, going to be picked on the side of Start Slow then Taper Off. And it was banned in game 1, picked by La Fine Equipe in game number 2. Or was it the other way around? It was something like that. That was years ago. And Trad going to be the final pick here. And they do still need a standard DPS. They do still need someone to race. And that's what Zul'jin is good at on the side of Start Slow then Taper Off. And what are they going to lock in for Trad here? Okay, they are not planning on racing at all. This is a team fighting composition. No one on their side is good at racing. But Genji, Falstad, Malthael, these are all very strong fighters. Very good in team fights. The Anduin ban, definitely very solid here, because if this was a Genji Light Bomb combo, would be much more difficult to play against. But with that being said, let's head to the third, and I'll be done regardless after this, even if they continue for a fourth and final game. All right, here we are. We are in Battlefield of Eternity. And I'm pretty sure, now that I think about it, this is also my first time casting Battlefield of Eternity in NGS Season 19. As just trying to jump over the wall. It is one of my favorite maps to cast because this map was created to force teams to fight. there's nothing else you can do when the Immortals are up. You want to hit them because they are going to hit your walls. They're going to hit your base very, very hard. But it does look like 0-day attack aiming to go straight to the top lane. But yeah, going through the middle. So maybe trying to see where the Urel goes. But no, just going to be going over to the top lane as well. So it's going to be 4 members grouping over to the bot side. Arlu already with the first stack of simple geometry. As always, it's going to be the scatter arrow build. There's not too much build paths available for the Hanzo. And it is also going to be the Hammerang. Typically, you do see the Hammerang in most situations, especially on a map with only 2 lanes. As Trad just going into the backline, trying to deal DPS. Gonna use the deflect, and we'll just dash away. But now Rebirth jumps onto Shadow Droid. They have the stun as well. Lunar Flare. But now Elega gonna take a little bit of poke, but we'll be able to just run away with the barrel roll. So no one's gonna go down. Just a little bit of poke going back and forth. The Gathering Storm already at 14 stacks, though. That's incredibly fast. And once those 30 stacks do come out, it's going to be a pretty sizable buff. It's essentially the same as getting an extra 30 stacks, but now the Shadow Charge not going to throw Honey Badger into a wall, but they're still going to be able to get a decent amount of damage. But now Honey Badger's in the wall, but the healing from Shadow Droid is going to be enough. And in the meanwhile, there's gang over on the top side. Trad but you're just hitting on a 0-day attack, but Urel is a very difficult character to finish off, even in a 1v2. You want more team members, or you want a fight that's already been lasting longer. But because it's 4v3 in the bot lane, the side of Start Slow is going to be able to take away the siege camp. And now 0-day attack wants to fight 1v2 and is trying to push them away. That 0-day attack starting to get quite low. Needs to start running. And just a couple more shots will finish it off. And but yeah, gonna be able to get that kill. So they will be able to get the Lunar Flare. Also lands in the bot lane. We'll talk about what happened on the top side afterwards. But it's just going to be a bit of poke damage. No one's going to go down quite yet on Lefine Keep. But it is going to be a trade of siege camps. However, Lefine Keep was also able to get themselves that kill. So it is going to be a little bit of an advantage for them on that cross-map trade. Now Trad coming in and just immediately jumps onto Xenochrist, trying to deal a decent bit of damage and will dash away. Lunar Flare not going to land on anyone else. But Rebirth is on the wrong side, but should be okay to just walk it back. Trad just going to jump onto Arlu, but the heal lightning or whatever it's called. Chain healing. That's it. Chain healing. We'll be able to bring him back to full. Xenochrist gonna have to reset a little bit further back. Gets interrupted by Trad, as both sides are now onto their bruiser camp. But Ye is on one. Honey Badger and Shadow Droid are going to be on the other. And a guy just covering the top side and does have flight. I'm not. Is it available? Yeah, flight is still available. So we'll be able to join the team fight later. So they could even just kind of let Elegar push out the top side and join the fight a little bit later. As that'll get them a little bit of extra XP, that'll get them a little bit of extra push, and bit by bit, all those advantages do start adding up. But now the Immortals have spawned, and it looks like the primary focus right now is going to be over towards the spots. They are sending multiple members to the top, just clearing away this bruiser camp. So it's just going to go straight to half point, or start slow then taper off. Now maybe they're looking for the second half to start the fight, but they're already on to Shadow Droid. Shadow Droid gonna be getting hit. The Stormhammer over top deals so much damage. And now Xenochrist is a little bit low as well, but it's a Zul'jin, so that's kind of the idea. But that's still going to be a very solid pick to get early. And now they can just focus on taking their Immortal. Now, unfortunately, the spawn wasn't good for Lefine Keep. It's a lot harder to defend on this side. Rebirth gonna do their best. They're going to have to send more members. Now Honey Badger going to go in with a burrow charge. Arlu going to get jumped upon in the backline as well. But Elegar able to push away the Start Slow and Taper off backline. 0-day attack still sitting on this point. Just kind of trying to keep everyone away. But Rebirth going to pull Xenochrist in. Gotta get heal a little bit with the Firestorm, but still quite low. A little bit of extra healing, but not enough. Lunar Flare comes out as well. And that's going to be an extra kill for Start Slow then Taper off. Now the race is coming through, but whenever the race happens, it is going to benefit Start Slow and Taper off, as they're also able to take down Mezzos. So that's 2 kills for Start Slow and Taper off. It is the Immortal, and let's see how much they can get with it. It's still an early Immortal, so once again, first objective to take walls, second objective to take the fort. With those 2 extra kills, they may be in a bit of a better spot. Edegaard just going to use the flight to get into lane faster. And while this shield's still available, it's not too big a shield, but it's still decent. It wasn't super close. And that gives the extra range coming out from this Immortal, which they will be able to clear out now as it goes into melee form. And now Honey Badger gonna get pulled back in. We'll get some of the Lunar Flare as well. We'll go down to about half HP. As Arlu getting so much damage from the scatter shot as well. And it looks like they may just be able to get this entire fort. This Immortal's dealing a lot of damage. Same with Arlu and Xenochrist on the backside. Lunar Flare is going to come out just to help push it out a little bit. But first fort going to start Soul and Taper off. And that's going to change things. That's a very big advantage to get. The XP lead still isn't that big. It's still not quite there. But it's going to climb. And that's a... Especially with the fort gone, they're going to have the pressure over on the top side once the next Immortal spawns. Now, Honey Badger does go in, but this fight might not be what they want. They have the deflect going as well, and Honey Badger will go down. So it's going to be a 1-for-0, and they're going to be able to secure the siege camp on the side of La Fine Equipe. That siege camp is going to go down. Arlu just trying to poke over the wall, being a nuisance. But they're not going to get too much on the side of La Fine Equipe at the moment. So now, looking at the stacks, we have 16 stacks on Simple Geometry, almost at that 20 break point. 62 stacks on Hammering at 6 minutes. That's a lot. And now 0-day attack versus Butchud. 0-day attack gonna jump over, and the Hammering doesn't even land, isn't needed. Trad gonna be able to get that final hit. And now Rebirth gonna get taken a bit low. Is gonna get hit by the Impale and the Burrow Charge. Trying to run away, but not enough HP, not enough healing, will go down. And there's no fort here. They could chase on the Mezzos. Trad trying to get in the way, throwing out those Shuriken. As the Mezzos will be able to just walk it out. Honey Badger gonna get dismounted and just getting poked. There's definitely no kill pressure from Trad here. But still another good pickoff for start slow then taper off. And with the tank gone, luckily the timer isn't that bad. They will be able to come back in time for the Immortals. And 95 souls. In a way, it's actually good that Rebirth didn't have 100 souls because respawning instantly here doesn't actually accomplish much for them. This respawn timer is more than fine. And now, at the very least, could still get that 100 souls during this team fight for this push. But now Trad gonna get hit into the cocoon. But Rebirth going in immediately, going to use the lightning onto Arlu. And with the Gus, gonna push him into the back. Trad able to kill one. Tazdingo popped by the other. Shadow Droid also now getting caught out. And on the other side, Honey Badger, last strike's going to take down Honey Badger. As the Ancestor Healing is going to save Shadow Droid. Now 0-day attack is also going to get taken down quite low. Hammerang just dealing damage onto the backline. Now, this is the composition that La Fine Equipe wanted. They don't want to race. They don't want to DPS onto the Immortal. They want to team fight, and they want to do it a lot. And what is this again? Lightning Breath. There we go. Sorry, my allergies are coming back, so I'm just forgetting a lot of ability names today. But now Rebirth is in place. 0-day attack, just trying to get a little bit of extra poke onto this Immortal. It's really not going to accomplish too much. But now they're able to get the stun as well. Just a little bit of extra damage, but the chain healing will keep 0-day okay. Trad just trying to DPS over top. Gonna use the deflect. Not gonna take too much as the Hammerang once again able to do so much DPS on the backline. And now Rebirth is gonna go in trying to defend onto theirs, but with the HP difference they have right now, they do elect to just push for it. But you can see they're losing the race. If it was on even HP, they would be in a bad spot. Now the Dragon Arrow does get thrown out, doesn't land onto anyone except Rebirth. I think they tried to interrupt a little bit, but now Xenochrist gonna get taken low. The X-Strike over top, and Xenochrist doesn't have Tazdingo, but will be able to just walk it away. They have the Cocoon. Over top, Rebirth gonna get reset out of it. Just a couple autos coming from Xenochrist, but we'll be okay overall. Now it's Trad and Butchud versus 0-day attack. There are a couple extra members, and now Trad gonna get impaled and will get finished off. The Immortal does go to La Fine Equipe, but an extra pickoff for start slow isn't too bad. And this Immortal will go over to the top side, trying to even out this structure damage. Unfortunately, their push isn't quite as good, but Rebirth, I just noticed, is over in the backline. It is going to get taken down as well. So that's going to be a second kill. Will reset immediately with the souls, but not going to be able to accomplish too much with it. And see, that Immortal's not going to be able to take down the fort, but it is going to be a little bit of extra damage. A 0-day attack also finishes off the bot lane wall. Now they're pinging for 0-day attack, but they're just going to be able to run it out. As Xenochrist going to start on the siege camp over in the top side. Flight going to get utilized by 8-day guy just to bring the 4 squad, and actually the 5 squad as Trad runs down as well, over to this bot side. They're going to take the siege camp, and it does seem like they want to start pressuring onto this fort. Because right now they're losing on the top side, but they can also let it push in a little bit because it's both a plus and a minus, but when you're being pushed in, as the Dragon Arrow lands perfectly on a Trad, that was so unlucky, but the Gust gonna come out, the Cocoon as well. The Deflect is on a cooldown, but now the Lightning Breath over top, dealing some damage, just kind of being used as a zoning tool. 0-day attack, gonna use the Ardent Sensors. Rebirth will use the Shadow Charge to get away. But 0-day attack is continuing onto this push. The team fight is still somewhat happening, but no one's going to go down. It was a 4-on-5, but I think Equipe gonna be able to get all its members away. All major cooldowns have been utilized basically by both teams. 2 ultimates available still by Start Slow. But now 0-day attack looking to start a play. Burrow Charge gonna land. And Honey Badger gets hit by the stun, but that's not gonna matter too much. Same with 0-day attack. But 0-day attack is starting to get a little bit low, but the chain healing is gonna come out in time. Ancestral healing is going to be what keeps them alive. And as Xenochrist gonna heal up as well. So now it's just 2 ultimates each. It is still going to be, I believe this is the Shadow. Interesting, Shadow Stock. I was expecting the other one, the Starfall thing. So not the ultimate or not the heroic ability I was expecting coming out from Mezzos, but very interesting. Yeah, and the Ancestral Healing has been utilized. They still have Gust, still have Last Rites, all the good stuff. But now the DPSing has already begun, so it's going to be the half time already. They had the extra Bruiser Camp shoving in towards bot side, so Start Sold and Taper Off are going to get started on theirs. But now Trad is going in. They may look for the play, and we'll be able to get a decent amount of poke damage just from Trad, but not going to be able to take anyone down. And outside of that, Equipe, you definitely want to be able to finish off these kills, especially with the composition that they decided. And so much damage coming out from Patia, able to get the full line onto everyone. But now Rebirth over in the back lane onto Shadow Droid, and the Gust X-Ray gonna be enough, not able to pop the Taz Dingo. But now they do have Trad inside the Cocoon, but you're taking a lot of damage as well, going to self-cleanse. Trad now DPSing onto the backline. 0-day attack is trying to trade into Batya and Alegar, but we're going to watch this fight because Trad is almost going to be able to get the kill, but just a little bit not enough. Now 0-day attack trading onto Batya, but Batya at 60 HP. Rebirth is going to go down in the process, but Trad now fighting 1v4. We'll use the Deflect. We'll get hit by the Impale. Couple more autos, but no further stuns. Just a Shuriken toss going back and forth. And with that, that should be another Immortal for Start Slow, then Taper Off. So they will be able to get this in their favor. This will go towards the bot lane. But interestingly enough, this Bruiser Camp finished off the bot lane for Latvian Equipe during that play. They don't have a wall, and this is going to be a very high shielded Immortal. So they could definitely take this forward. I think that's without question. But the question is, how much more can they get? Can they get the wall? If they can get a good fight going with the Immortal, they could also look for the keep. But now they're going to start it off with a stun on a Trad, and Trad barely able to jump away in time. The Dragon Arrow just a little bit too late, but now Rebirth able to get the pullback to cleanse onto Xenochrist. X-Strike used over onto Arlu, and Arlu going to be at half HP. So the fight's benefiting Latvian Equipe, so it does look like it's just going to be the 1 fort. And maybe a little bit of damage onto this wall. But the fort's definitely gone. The rod, the lightning rod is starting DPS onto it as Arlu almost goes down. 115 stacks on Gathering Storm. Sorry, 118. I misspoke. And Alegar is starting to get quite strong. So much damage with his Hammerang. So the wall not going to take too much DPS, but they are looking to keep pushing it. The power shot almost enough to take down the cannon tower. You know what, there's a bit of trading over the top side. In fact, Ardent Sensor gonna get utilized. Same with the last right, so ult for ult. But it does favor the Melthiel. It does favor Batya, because that's a much shorter cooldown. But now Arlu getting jumped upon by Trad. Trad's going to go into the Cocoon. But they're not breaking quite yet. Gust is available and gonna get stunned up before they can use it. But now the fight is breaking down. Honey Badger is on the wrong side. Lightning Breath just onto the entire backline. They cannot fight here, but 0-day attack jumps onto Trad. Lightning Arrow, or Dragon Arrow, just gonna get hit onto Mezzos. And they're all quite low, but there's no more Ardent Sensors. 0-day attack is definitely killable here, but it does have the extra healing. The little bit of extra damage, the Gathering Storm stacks are more than enough with the Hammerang. That burst damage. The stun ended. They got the actual active portion of that ability, and that was more than enough to get the kill. But what can they get with it? There's nothing really available except for this siege camp, but they could look to start another fight. And the Hammerang dealing so much damage, but Rebirth just gets blown up. I was not expecting that, but the level 16 talents are now out. There is the Giant Slayer for the Scatter Arrow. If you manage to land a couple of them, they absolutely shred through the Diablo. They absolutely shred through Rebirth. Now Trad just trying to get into the back line, trying to cut the wave a little bit. Is going to dash away. Honey Badger's looking for the play, but Trad able to just jump away. And will get hit by the burrow charge. Will get hit by the impale. And Trad's just going to go down. I thought they managed to get away, but not in time. They do have the extra tons onto Xenochrist. The Taz, Dingo, and the Gus going to be coming through. Now they're trying to get rid of the Cocoon, and Adegar will be able to just barrel roll away. Now they have the double stun on Adegar, but it's not going to be enough. There is no follow-up available. Once again, this is a situation where it's hard for them to walk forward. With Trad gone, they're going to have a lot less DPS available to them. They're going to have a lot less backline kill potential. They basically need to play front to back. But it's so difficult to play front to back when you have a Falstad as your only DPS at this moment. And it's a Urel and an Anubrak in the front line. The Dragon Arrow gonna go wide. And as Zero-Day attacking Honey Badger, just trying to zone them away. They're going to be able to throw a couple of the extra stuns as well. And with that, they're going to have more than enough pressure to just get 100% or near 100% health immortal. Now, Rebirth is going to get hit into the back line. They could try looking for it. Honey Badger is there as well. And is in out of form, but not going to be able to land the first stun. Mezzos dodges out on the Impale. Trad, meanwhile, just dealing damage in the back line. As Mezzos able to just run it out. But now they have the stun. They have the Gust utilized defensively there. So not going to be able to get too much else with it, but the Immortal is going to be spawning over to the bot side. But there is the double neutrals pushing out, so the bot wall is going to get finished off by the side of Lefine Keep. They have been dotting their I's and crossing their T's. That's the order. And because of that, they've been able to get consistent pushes with their neutrals. They always make sure to get them, even if it makes them a bit late to the play. And they've gotten value for it every single time. Now Trad, once again, gonna get hit into the Cocoon, and the Anubrak, paying so much dividend, is going to go immediately into X-Strike, and is gonna get stunned up by the boss, actually, by the Immortal, but the Lightning Breath going to pull them away. Forced to use the Ancestral Healing to keep their backline alive. Now the Immortal is going to get taken down quite low. Not going to be able to finish off this keep, but we'll take the keep down a couple hits, and we'll open up further opportunities for this play. Actually, more than I thought. I thought it'd be around a quarter HP maybe, but no, they take it down just below half. So now Lefine Keep going to reset. As start slow then taper off. This game, they're looking a lot better now, because now they've been playing kind of on the front side of it. They're able... Lefine Keep needs to force plays, and they haven't really been entirely able to. They are going to take off that 4. They have a pretty good positioning here. They have the Arrow in the backline, Zero-Day attack, but now the team fight is starting to break out. Zero-Day attack is here. Who will they be able to get? They will jump immediately onto Trad into Mezzos. Going to go unstoppable and just knock Trad back. The power shot going to take them out so low. Ardent Sensor gets thrown out, but same with the Gus. Burrow charge lands on 2 and the Impale. The solar charge as well. Honey Badger getting quite low, and Trad will be able to get that kill. But in the meanwhile, Trad's still quite low. Shadow Droid, unfortunately, not the DPS target they want, but 2 going to get finished off. Arlu with the scatter shot. Rebirth going to get finished off as well. And now Arlu looking for the play onto Mezzos, but not going to be there in time. And it's a 2-for-1 so far. And level 20 talents are hit by Start Slow. The Hammerangs are coming through as well. 160 stacks now, so it's starting to slow down a little bit. And the scatter shot going to land on Aelegar as well. And so much combo damage from Arlu. And this should be it. They should be able to take this keep. I don't know if they can start pushing for the end, but this is going to be a very good spot for them. And it does look like they want to try. And I think they should. This game, once again, I will remind you, this is no longer part of NGS. It's just for fun, but since they're playing it, I stay to cast anyway. But I was hoping they'd play aggressive because of that, but it looks like their pride is on the line. They don't want to go down 3-0 to Lefine Keep. As Mezzos able to get a couple soul flares onto Zero-Day attack. Am I calling that right? Lunar flare, sorry. I knew that something was wrong. But the race has begun, and this positioning really favors Start Slow and taper off a Zero-Day attack. Able to throw their backline into the front, but yeah, is going to be okay. And a lot of damage gonna get thrown out. The Ardent Sensor has been utilized. Or Ardent Defender, sorry. Gonna get utilized. And now they need to push out on this boss end. And this is actually a good positioning for Lefine Keep as the fight starts. The wind wall gonna push Arlu back, and the stun into Lunar Flare. Shadow Droid gonna go down as well. Taz didn't go pop, but I don't think there's any way out of it. Lightning Breath over top. Gotta get the 3rd member. And they do have a wave here, actually. They could try to play for it. It's just the front line. They do have the cleanse on a Zero-Day attack. Will be okay. But Honey Badger gonna get taken out quite low. Look at the damage from the Hammering. And now they're shoving out this bot lane. They could end this. Lefine Keep could go 3-0. And this game started and continued to be in favor of Start Slow then taper off. And taper off they have. Because right now, Lafine Equipe, they look like they're going to end this. There's still 30 seconds till anyone else comes back. Just 0-day attack on Honey Badger. Honey Badger going to get taken down a little bit low, but we'll just have to bro charge back into the base. X-Strike used over top as they're still hitting on to the core. The core is still pretty tanky, but despite that, it's at 50%, 40%. There's no more shield. All 5 members are still up. Still 10 seconds, and that's going to be it. It's going to be a 3-0 for Lafine Equipe. I mean, surprise game, surprise ending. Again, I'm not going to change the score for this because, again, this game didn't count. This was already a domination by Lafine Equipe even before this game 3. So they are still only going to get their 4 points. They don't get anything extra for the 3-0. But Start Southern Taper Off showed that they are a competitive team. They were in a very good spot against Lafine Equipe for most of the game. But Lafine Equipe, they saw their moment. Rebirth immediately jumped upon it. And the wind wall by Elega, able to keep Arlu and Shadow Droid stuck in that place, stuck in all of those different abilities. Did you miss anything, Hector? So they just played a third game for fun and asked if I could cast it. So the series did end at 2-0, but they played a third game just for funsies. That's my professional term, funsies. But with that being said, I think I'm just gonna call it here. I'll see who else is currently casting. I'm not going to do an interview. I've already done a bit more than I should have by giving them the third game. And I think I'm actually going to jump to Eternally Blue TV. So thank you all for coming. Once again, download Matchmasters. I'm not going to do my full spiel, but click the link. Download it. Helps me out a lot. And let's raid Eternally Blue TV. Do I have the name correct? I think so. I'm not. No, it isn't. No, I can just copy paste it. Oh, it's just TV. I see. Yeah. Anyway, thank you everyone for coming. I'm sure by the time you actually see this, we will have already started our raid. But I believe they're just starting their series right now. So very good timing to go forward. Thank you all for watching. I'll be doing a double cast tomorrow. So I hope to see you then. Have a good night, everyone.